to the audience because, I figure, what the hell? It's a Saturday afternoon. We have a little time. You know where I'm going later? I'm going to the UFC fights. You know why? It's the closest thing I can see that's really reflective of the election process that we have in this country. The UFC fights. That may be a little tamer than the election business.
It might be right. Might even be more fair.
That's the energy. That's the meme, Jerry. Well done. Way to match the moment, way to reach the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a little late to our stream this morning due to technical difficulties that now we have solved, but were unforeseen, and I apologize for being late. Ladies and gentlemen, we endeavor to be on time every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our programming, and we make a promise to you that we are going to continue to endeavor to hit that mark, and we'll be doing better in the future. Today is Monday, March 11th, 2024. Donald Trump breaks the internet with appearance at UFC, and little did we know he'd be sitting with us. That was a surprise to us, and has led to a very, very special memory that we will sort of crystallize here in some major takeaways. We learned quite a bit this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump lives rent-free at the Oscars. Reads his Truth Social post on stage. The Oscars might as well just have Trump host at this point. Like, what's the problem? Just have Trump host the show. That would be a genius move. Donald Trump's a Hollywood star. He's been in a ton of movies. Can you imagine the ratings if Trump was the host as president? Because that's what it'll be next year, March of next year when the Oscars are. Come on. So instead of just bitching and mewling about it, just have Donald Trump host the damn thing. And, ladies and gentlemen, somebody who deserves an Oscar himself for a number of excellent performances in Congress. We've been an appreciator for a long time. George Santos joins the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we watched Donald Trump this weekend. We watched little golden Oscars get handed out on Sunday, and then we sat next to Donald Trump's beautiful golden hair on Saturday, and so there was a lot of gold this weekend. We were also staying at Trump's property, Doral, in Mar-a-Lago. There's plenty of gold there. The reason why things are gold that have value is because gold has value, obviously, and has been a communicator of value forever. Right? Gold is a precious resource, and it is finite, and that is why it is valuable. Have you seen the price of gold going up recently? The more dollars they print, the more gold's going to go up. Please go and visit my friends at Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold can help take care of you and ensure that you are betting responsibly on your future with physical assets that actually have value. That would not be the dollar, and especially if you follow the people who are, managing the dollar right now. Don't follow too closely. You'll lose sleep. But if you follow those people, you'll find out, ladies and gentlemen, that they're not very competent. So bet against them. Bet on precious metals. Go to protectwithbenny.com today. Call 844-66-BENNY. Get $5,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Don't get fooled, ladies and gentlemen, into fiat currencies. Protectwithbenny.com today. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We have a story time. Let's begin with story time. Okay, here we go. So we got invited to the UFC by Dana White, and Dana White's been we don't know him, right? We don't pretend to be like, yo, he's our best friend. But Dana White is a G. He's somebody who's obviously a part of our movement, and who or at the very least just loves freedom, right? Loves freedom of speech, believes America is a free country, has created, obviously, the UFC, which from a distance we've been fans of, but never been to an event. And we were in Miami, as we said. We were filming a documentary in Miami, one of Trump's properties in Miami. We're doing a Trump's Crib episode. So UFC was in Miami. We hit him up. We're like, Dana, can we come? And he's like, absolutely, roll through. We did a miniature documentary there. We look forward to producing that. When that is actually produced, of course, we'll play it on the show. But we were able to go sort of backstage, back behind the scenes the whole day. It was a very, very interesting day. It's really an unbelievable thing that Dana White's built there. I mean, it's a cultural powerhouse. And I guess there are like three main takeaways. But I want to fast forward here to Donald Trump arriving at the UFC. Because this is the major takeaway. And boys, let's get the B-roll, please, do we have the B-roll of our seats? Our seats in ALX with his Never Surrender shirt. Got that? Okay, let's grab that, please. We went and they took us to our seats. And they bring us into our seats, and first off, there's Dan Scavino sitting there. Ladies and gentlemen. Dan Scavino is Donald Trump's sort of social media brain. He's the guy who runs all of Donald Trump's social media. He's the guy who is the mastermind behind Donald Trump's social posting. And we see Scavino in there and we're like, wait a second. And then also, why are there Secret Service agents here? And why are there a bunch of chairs by our chairs that say 45, right? So as you can see here in the clip, they sort of print your name and put them on the chairs. So we have the Benny Johnson chairs, right? 3 members of our staff that were there, and these are the Benny Johnson chairs. ALX, of course, wearing his Never Surrender shirt, executive producer ALX wearing the Never Surrender shirt, but we didn't know. Hand to God, we didn't know that Donald Trump would be there that night. Of course, now everyone knows. We've all seen the footage. But when we walked in, we see Scavino. We go over and dap him up, talk with him. Do we have that footage? Scavino, no. Okay. All right, boys, just load all the footage. Just load all the clips. You know where I'm going to go here. ALX, just load all the clips. How about that? We go over, we talk to Scavino, and we say, is Trump, Secret Service is here. It's really, there's a lot of security, but, there's only a certain type of guy that, looks a very certain way, certain haircut, certain earpiece. You live in D.C., they stand a certain way, right, with their jackets like this. They have a specific type of shoe. And they have canines. The Secret Service is not hard to spot if you know what you're looking for. And so I'm seeing Secret Service everywhere. I see Scavino, and we go up and we talk to him about a bunch of stuff I can't actually talk about here. But I did ask him, wait a second, why are you here, bro? Is Donald Trump going to be here? And he gives me a wink and a nod. And at that time, Donald Trump was doing a rally in Georgia, which was really impressive because the rally in Georgia had massive amounts of people at it. The rally, this is Dan Scavino right here. Everyone should follow Dan Scavino. If you don't already follow Dan Scavino, you got to follow him. He is this guy is such an awesome dude. And again, he is the brain nucleus for Donald Trump on social media. Dan Scavino is such an awesome dude. He was there, obviously, enjoying the fights himself, right? Like an appreciator. He works for Donald Trump, so he's a fighter. Donald Trump was hosting a rally in Georgia at the time that we were doing that handshake. So, is Trump going to make it? And the rally in Georgia was packed. We've got footage of the rally in Georgia? Okay. Anyway, the rally in Georgia is just wall to wall of people. And teams grabbing footage. Boys, just load all the clips. Just load all the clips. Load the clips, please. So Donald Trump, so what ends up happening here is the word on the street is that Donald Trump's going to show up. This is what was happening in Georgia, 1,000 miles away. Just packed, a packed event, a packed rally. So the word on the street is that Donald Trump's going to show up at the UFC. Now, eventually at the UFC, the stadium sort of fills up. What you saw there is us filming sort of before even the event started. People walk in with the front row seats. So in the front row seats is Dana White, Candace Owens, Patrick Bet David, Dan Bongino. Do we have that sequence? All of some of our favorite people, right? It's pretty awesome. Like all of kind of our favorite creators and some really based people in the movement. Dave Portnoy is up there. Not sure Dave Portnoy is exactly based. I think he's on the right side of some things, on the wrong side of others. Some major influencers and so on. And I'm like, it's like important to kind of like set the scene here, because it's leading to a very important point, which is like the biggest point that I learned about Donald Trump this weekend. I've never actually thought about it this way, but I actually understand now. It's not because of the border wall. It's not because of Trump's policies. It's not because of like kind of the way that Trump's done business that the left hates him so much. It's actually it was really kind of unbelievable to watch the Oscars. So that's here's Jared and Ivanka walking in. Here's obviously there was a mayor of Miami that was walking in with Dana White. He just passed by. He actually sat right next to us the whole time. And we have sort of Sage Steele. She's awesome. So anyway, like the entire, like it's a massive cultural zeitgeist. Okay, it's a massive cultural zeitgeist walking in. Boy, Royce, your footage here, buddy. Okay, all right. Were you drunk? Was Royce drinking? No, interesting.
Because people were walking past.
Candace Owens obviously there. And anyway, finally, so you have the arena filled with the biggest names in broadcast, with quarterbacks from the NFL. Joe Burrow was there, right? He's an NFL quarterback. A bunch of NFL players were there. Some of the biggest influencers on planet Earth. Some of the biggest YouTubers on planet Earth. You have tech titans, media moguls. Mr. Beast was there. The Paul brothers were there. And then, ladies and gentlemen, with an arena filled with some of the most powerful people on Earth, there's a music stinger. All the lights go black, and there's like a music stinger. And you get everyone standing literally on their tippy toes, and the bell rings, and in walks the actual champion. And it wasn't somebody who was going to go into the octagon. It was Donald freaking Trump. Donald Trump walks in, and the place roars. I've never heard anything like it before in my life. The place just absolutely... What's the right way to say this? Dab up the president as he walks in. I just said, "What's up, Mr. President?" You see Michael Irvin? You know Michael Irving? Like, you see him back there, like he's videoing. Michael Irving of the Dallas Cowboys is back there, like trying to get footage of Trump. It's Trump and Portnoy, Trump and his daughter and son-in-law there, Jared and Ivanka. The way that people screamed for Trump, the way that people roared for Trump was more than I heard for any singular fighter, except for maybe like the top of the card, maybe like the championship bout, right? The roar was like a roar of like a marching or like an army marching into battle. It was deafening. It was something like I've never heard before in my life. And I have it in my ears forever. Hearing like the sound of people cheering for Donald Trump when he walked in. I mean, it was just truly, utterly deafening. We were able to go up and talk with Donald Trump. And we were able to go have a conversation. You don't want to take up too much of his time, right? Obviously, and you don't want to monopolize his time or be rude. The last thing you want to do, right, is sit there and think that you're the most important guy in the room. You're not. But we did want to thank Donald Trump for his work, obviously, and talk to him about what I'm talking to him about there is his joke about Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade. So we did get a chance to take a photo with them, ladies and gentlemen, and joke with Donald Trump. Here's the three things that we talked to Donald Trump about. Donald Trump, we started with the State of the Union. I asked about his thoughts on the State of the Union. He thought Joe Biden was on drugs. He's like, guy was on drugs. Donald Trump obviously said a lot about Joe Biden's performance at the State of the Union, but he said the guy was on drugs. The guy was on his meds. right? You saw Joe Biden's State of the Union screaming and ranting and raving for like 90 straight minutes, Joe Biden. And then the drugs wear off and Joe Biden starts like going into hallucinations. Asked him if Joe Biden's going to make it to 2024. And he said no. He said he does not believe that he's actually running against Joe Biden right now. That's what Trump said. And then let's replay the clip, please. But then he says, you know, they'll do anything to stop me from being president. And I said, yeah, Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade, we, by the way, are huge fans of your joke about Nathan. You're huge fans about your joke about Nathan Wade. When you made the joke that Nathan Wade has experience only doing one thing, which is where that hand motion comes from. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the actual joke. If you are familiar with our show, then you don't need to hear the joke again. But here is the actual joke, ladies and gentlemen, that Donald Trump made of Nathan Wade with the hand motion, just to refresh your memory. What a legend. Here we go.
I was indicted by Fannie in Georgia. Fannie. How did that work out? And her lover, Nathan Wade. And they hired him for almost $1 million because of his great, great experience. Of course, he didn't have any experience. He had experience in something else. You know that. A lot of experience. And at that, I'm quite sure he was very good based on the fact that she called him 2,000 times. I didn't know the gentleman. I didn't know him. Oh, you have 2,000 phone calls, 3,500 text messages. How is it possible? In a short, I know a lot of people. We like a lot of people. I happen to have a very good relationship with a woman called Melania. But I would venture to say in all the years that I've known her, I might not have called her 2,500 times. I know I didn't send 3,500 text messages.
So, Donald Trump, that is my favorite joke he's made on the campaign trail so far. Donald Trump's made jokes about Chris Christie. Donald Trump's made jokes, obviously, about Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and they've been really, really funny. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, we have a joke. Let's go ahead and test this one, guys. Donald Trump just put up a hysterical video on his Instagram. Grab it. Let's pop it up. I want to let's see if we can play that on the show. Speaking of Dan Scavino and what an absolutely great job he does. Donald Trump making jokes, but that is my favorite joke that Donald Trump's ever made. Okay. Go to Donald Trump's Instagram. I want to get the one he just posted about Joe Biden, please. So again, you got to see the joke he made about Joe Biden because it actually reinforces the conversation that Trump and I had. Two quick takeaways about this, and then a larger takeaway about the UFC in general. One, Donald Trump is everything that people say that he is. If you are actually listening to people, including Hollywood and Democrats and people like before Donald Trump decided to run for president, man, everybody talks about how magnanimous this man is, how polite he is, how kind he is, how Donald Trump, who's like truly like the most famous celebrity, like human celebrity that has ever lived, Donald Trump is sitting there asking me questions. Like, what a guy. Like, he sits there and asks me a question, right? In there, front stage of the UFC. It's like, what a magnanimous, like, kind individual he is. Donald Trump also, like, helping our cameraman get the right shot. You saw Rolls Royce. May or may not have been drinking. We're not sure. We're going to check the footage. But Donald Trump gave Rolls Royce advice on where his camera angles should be in a amazing clip when Donald Trump was taking a photo with ALX, and he loved ALX's shirt. Donald Trump told ALX, "Oh, I just absolutely love that shirt. It's the official Donald Trump Never Surrender mugshot shirt." Ladies and gentlemen. So here's ALX, executive producer ALX, with the Never Surrender shirt on with Donald Trump. An absolute, like, you just don't get better than this. You just can't get better than this. But Donald Trump wanted to make sure that they got the right photo and was actually giving photographic advice to Royce, which is an unbelievable thing. Pretty special. Rolls Royce trying to take the photo. Donald Trump goes, hey, no, get up with their camera.
Wait, hold it up high.
There we go.
Wait, hold it up high.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What a badge of honor. And what a dude. Like, again, ladies and gentlemen, what Donald Trump is trying to do, Donald Trump doesn't need more photos of himself. What Donald Trump is trying to do here, put that video up, play it on a loop. What Donald Trump is trying to do here is make sure that our executive producer of this show has a good photo and gets like a good photo of himself. So Trump's giving advice to Rolls-Royce to take a good photo for the sake of ALX. That's what he's doing. Really, like, again, magnanimous, like, kind thing to do. Do you think Trump needs more photos of himself, or that Trump's like gonna particularly care about one selfie? That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. This guy is like an amazing, like, just this clip alone, just a 5-second clip alone, like, sort of shows you who Donald Trump is. Wanting to make sure that ALX gets a great photo in his Never Surrender shirt. And this is the major takeaway, ladies and gentlemen. The major takeaway here is that Donald Trump is the creator of culture. And that is, of course, crystallized in the number of people that I would argue we were probably, I mean, you could get up and jump and touch Donald Trump, right? That's how close we were sitting next to him. We were sitting just a few seats. We were sitting literally behind him, just a few seats over. Okay, so you could just stare at the back of Trump's head the entire time you were watching the fight. Donald Trump sitting ringside, literally sitting up against the ring, right? When people would like hit the chain link, they could like you could technically splash your sweat or blood on Donald Trump. I don't think that actually happened, but Trump's literally sitting on the ring, right? We're in the row behind him, and here's Donald Trump sitting there, and we're watching, and we see scenes like this, ladies and gentlemen. We see scenes like NFL quarterbacks coming up and dapping up Donald Trump. Big time NFL quarterback. Do you have the footage of this? Okay, grab me that footage. Big time, like, NFL quarterbacks. That's Joe Burrow, right? Nick Bosa just played in the Super Bowl. 49ers totally should have won. I have my personal feelings on this, but whatever. There's the guy, the linebacker who just played in the Super Bowl, and the quarterback, one of the most famous quarterbacks in America, a guy who won the national championship, Joe Burrow, sitting there taking photos with Donald Trump. This is the creation of culture, ladies and gentlemen. Not only that, they're not just taking photos with Trump, they're like going over to kiss the ring. Check out this footage of these guys. Like, as they're like sitting there with Donald Trump, like clearly having the time of their lives. Clearly like enjoying every second of this and coming over to like compliment Trump. They're like fangirling, speaking with Donald Trump. Like hugging him. Thanking him. Begging him to come back, presumably. We couldn't hear what they were saying. But this is the footage. Like, having themselves the best time. And we saw this again and again and again. Portnoy runs Barstool Sports. He's very much a media mogul. The guy runs, obviously, a multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar empire. I don't exactly know the net worth of Dave Portnoy, but, like, his entire crew is, like, what they've built is really, really impressive. Other members of the NFL. Here's the Browns tight end. This guy's a superstar. David Njoku. I don't know how to pronounce these names. We filmed this. These guys like coming up, like hugging Trump. Getting a photo with Trump. Like walking over to pay respect. Like Trump's not going to them. They're going to Trump. Ladies and gentlemen. Alex said I got it right the first time. Okay. Njoku? Okay. Look at these guys. They'll never show you this footage. NFL superstars standing there. I mean, Trump's a tall guy. These guys tower over Trump. NFL superstars standing there, hugging Trump, thanking Trump, dapping up Trump. Amazing. Look at this. They'll never show you this. They'll never show you this. Of course, obviously, Candace Owens with Trump as well. Ladies and gentlemen, what's the takeaway here? And this ties really nicely into the Oscars and into Jimmy Kimmel having a hysterical meltdown on stage last night at the Oscars. We had producers watching the Oscars just because it's our job, not because we actually care. But what did they make it about? Trump. The Oscars making it about Trump. What's the big takeaway here? Trump is culture. Trump is fame. Trump is power. Trump is celebrity. That's what celebrity actually is power. And Trump has it in spite of an entire establishment, a country that somehow, like overnight seemingly, is owned entirely by the Marxist communist left. The vast majority of the country are not Marxist communists, yet they own every institution, every branch of government, every major law firm, every Fortune 500 company. They have done what communists do, and they've integrated themselves, right? Like a pestilence. Parasitically. Like moved up the rungs of academia, capitalism, and they have then they exert power from those positions. Donald Trump has broken the back of that system through sheer force of will. Donald Trump is the most famous man who has ever lived. Elvis, pretty famous, never had a standing army, never had the command. Elvis actually was in the army, never actually had the command of the army. The Beatles, pretty famous, but those are like 4 guys and never had access to the nuclear codes, right? And I doubt that even Elvis or the Beatles could have gotten a reception with the type of roaring that Donald Trump received as he walked in to UFC 299 this weekend in Miami. A place that was a blue city up to just moments ago. Now it's a 10-point red city, Miami. The backfire is officially here, and this is why they hate Trump so much. They hate Trump so much because he's actually, there's Dave Portnoy dapping up Trump. Okay, if you actually care about those kind of things, if you're a fan of Barstool Sports or if you follow the sports world, you'll know who Dave Portnoy is. Either way, no matter what you think of him, a man of great cultural import, like coming to Trump to hug Trump, to take a photo with Trump. And that's the major takeaway from this weekend. That like clicked suddenly for me. Is that all these politicians, and there were politicians there, I'm not going to name them because I don't want to like shame them, but there were all these politicians there at this UFC thing, right? Those politicians were running up to the influencers to take photos with them. I can't get over Michael Irving like nodding and smiling and like taking videos of Trump in this footage. It's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, the politicians who were in the audience, let me take a step back. Trump is not a politician, okay? And I can tell you how and why. The politicians that were in the audience were running up to the influencers. They were running up to us. They were running up to like people, to Candace, to PBD, to all these guys. They were running up to them, to Dana White, to take photos with them. That's what the politicians were doing. The politicians were running to the people of cultural import, to the billionaires, to the tech moguls, to the titans of media that were there in the audience. That's who the politicians were running to take photos with them. All of those people, the celebrity class, the mogul class, the billionaire class, they were running to Trump to get photos. Do you see the difference? That's the difference. And that made me go click. That suddenly like clicked for me. And why? Because Trump is the zenith of where they wish to be. Donald Trump is the alpha energy, the masculine energy that this country so desperately needs. Crystallized, like personified. The Western civilization, the Western civilized desire to earn and gain and conquer. Donald Trump is that. And all of these people, if you're an NFL quarterback, if you're a billionaire, if you're a tech mogul, you want the things that Trump personifies. The epitome of, the full crystallization of. You want these things. And so you go and you kiss the ring and game, respect, game. And you walk up and you dab up Donald Trump, no matter what your politics are, because I assume some of these people maybe don't agree with Donald Trump politically. I know for a fact some of them don't. And they still walk over, bow their head, and pay respect to Trump. Why? And that's why they hate him so much. Because for the better part of the last 100 years, the cultural left and the Marxist left have gone about the business of gaining full ownership of, and therefore destroying, the industries that create fame and create power and create these vectors. Donald Trump has broken that system. And now, here are these NFL quarterbacks and these Super Bowl superstars who are coming up to like praise and hug the man that they're not supposed to praise or hug. The system is now in total collapse. Now the system has completely broken. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing the true breaking of the machine. And this is what's really special. They were able to shame people in not visiting the White House. You remember those days where like Super Bowl teams wouldn't even go to the White House? Oh, you won the Super Bowl. I refuse to go, right? Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to kneel for the national anthem. We're going to show Trump. We got Trump now where Hollywood could like troll Trump and they thought that like these things worked. They didn't work. This weekend was the pure crystallization, the pure distillation of why they didn't work. How they didn't work. The system broke. It's been broken, and Donald Trump broke it. And that's what drives them mad. Because this has been a 100-year communist Marxist march through our institutions to try and destroy someone like Donald Trump, to try and stop someone like Donald Trump, a man who's just simply off message, who's not delivering the message. And they can't stop him. In fact, the people that they used to be able to manipulate into not even wanting to be seen with Donald Trump are now running over to say hi to him and hug him, thank him, and praise him. Look at these dudes. These dudes are NFL superstars, multi-millionaires, young in their career, some of the biggest names in the NFL, giant tight ends. I mean, they tower over Trump. Trump's a tall dude, towering over Trump. And they are begging Trump for a photo and a hug. What does that tell you? Not the other way around. They're going to Trump. It tells you that we are in a very special moment right now. And we're in a moment of victory. We are in a moment when people have finally said, F the machine. F this system. The system is broken. And we don't care about you anymore. We don't care about being canceled anymore. We are like inside of the literal turning point. We are in a turning right now. And people have rejected this machine, rejected this system. And are saying, we don't really care. You can't do it. We're going to go, we like Trump. Trump is the testosterone injection that this nation needs, the alpha energy that this nation needs, the masculine energy that this nation needs, and we're going to go pay respect to it. Because actually, we want to be Trump someday. This is remarkable. There's this remarkable article from the Huffington Post. Let's find it. From 2016. And it goes through how many times rappers mentioned Trump. Why? Why did so many rappers mention Trump? It's like thousands of times. Platinum award-winning songs called Donald Trump. Mac Miller had one. Because that was the American dream. And they were able to try and like destroy Trump and take that away. 67 times rappers name dropped Donald Trump. And I don't think this is like a official list of the total number of times that Donald Trump is name dropped in raps. But way back in 2015, the Huffington Post is writing how Donald Trump, this guy's like really popular in rap culture. I wonder why. And what we're saying here is that Donald Trump is back, baby. And that this moment is back. And that they threw everything they had and they launched it all. They launched everything they had. Put him in jail. Get him a mugshot. That'll make him less popular with these rappers. It's freaking morons. These people are such they're so stupid. Thank God they're so dumb. But now that moment is officially done. There certainly was a moment when like the NFL guys would have been like, yeah, my publicist, my agent said don't dab up Donald Trump. Not a good idea. Hey, we're just going to sit back. We're just going to sit back. Not going to, I mean, whatever, right? Not going to blame anyone, shame anyone for that. Again, these cultural Marxists are demonic. They're evil. They're Satanists, and they have a lot of power. And so you could be forgiven for like being a little scared of them. But now that fear is gone. It's evaporated. Donald Trump is culture. And that's power. And that's the power to win. So Joe Biden gets Laken Riley's name wrong, calls her Lincoln. Donald Trump meets with her parents. Which side do the Democrats come down on? The side of the criminal alien that murdered her. We can prove that. It sounds very grotesque and evil, but ladies and gentlemen, it is 100% correct. The illegal alien was called an illegal by Joe Biden in that clip. And instead of being upset about that, the Democrats are angry that the illegal criminal alien is called an illegal criminal alien. Here's Nancy Pelosi having a meltdown about that live on TV.
Now, you should have said undocumented, but that's not a big thing, okay? What's the big thing about it?
No, I actually wasn't even going to ask about that. I was just going to ask more about the moment. But you do think that he should have said undocumented? That wasn't going to be my question.
Well, we usually say undocumented. He said.
So they're upset. Joe Biden, of course, when asked about calling Laken Riley's murderer out as an illegal, mispronouncing her name, initially said this person was here and wasn't supposed to be here in the country. Again, resetting to his factory settings, Democrat 1998. Here's Joe Biden's initial response.
Do you regret using the word illegal to describe immigrants last night, sir?
Well, I don't regret it. Technically not supposed to be here.
So, okay, that was Joe Biden's response. And while I disagree with Joe Biden on virtually everything, he's right about that. He's not supposed to be here. And he murdered an American. So he's lucky that I just call him an illegal. I should call him much, much, much worse. We would have to get the bleep button out. And then they finally got to Joe Biden. Now the Marxists, this is what we're talking about here. The Marxists that actually own and operate these massive systems are able to leverage that power against the resident of the White House and get him to apologize in a humiliation ritual. And Joe Biden then went and apologized to the murderer, not to Laken Riley's family, but to the murderer. They got to him. This is why they hate Trump, because Trump actually has this kind of cultural power to change narratives. And here's what they were changing the narrative to. In case you're wondering who is on the side of evil, this is what they changed the narrative to. Getting the resident of the White House to apologize to Laken Riley's murderer. Here it is.
But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
So Joe Biden apologized to the criminal alien, murderous monster, demonic, sick effer, I'm gonna do my best to control myself here, that slaughtered an American because he felt like it, who was released by Democrats multiple times. And this is what Joe Biden gets pushed on. Again, ladies and gentlemen, when you're doing an interview, the power is in asking the questions. And so Jonathan Capehart gets sent out there to go ask these questions on behalf of MSNBC to shame Joe Biden on camera into apologizing for using a naughty term. Is that the America you want? The decision has never been clear, actually. You either get that America or you get this America. Here's how Trump handled this.
When I say he was an illegal alien, he was an illegal immigrant, he was an illegal migrant, and he shouldn't have been in our country, and he never would have been under the Trump policy. And Biden should be apologizing for apologizing to this killer.
He's a killer. He's a criminal alien. He should have never been in this country. In fact, Donald Trump had Laken Riley photos and images printed off and put in the seats at the rally this weekend in Georgia, which is the state where Laken Riley was murdered. Here we go. Oh, clip E.
I know how to say the name.
Laken Riley.
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize. We had MTG. We have MTG in the actual aisle of the rally with the poster, and I thought that was the clip here, but it wasn't marked correctly. So it's a different MTG, different aisle, and ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday. Say her name, Laken Riley. This is the actual imagery. This isn't somebody that made this and brought this. This is what the Trump campaign had printed out and put on the seats of the rally. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are your choices. This is, of course, the power of having the celebrity of Donald Trump. This is, of course, why they fear Donald Trump so much. This is why they are seething so much about Donald Trump and why they are so bitter, because Donald Trump can actually twist the narratives, change the narratives. So you have a decision, America. Here's your binary decision. Joe Biden, who apologizes to the criminal aliens who murder Americans in cold blood through blunt force trauma. This guy took the girl's head and smashed it. That's what he did. It's important to talk. It's uncomfortable. I have daughters too. It is sickening to my soul. But you need to speak truth to power on these things. This monster was released by Democrats multiple times. Let into this country, career criminal, let into this country, released by Democrat multiple times, and then went and hunted Laken Riley down to murder her through blunt force trauma in a sanctuary city in Georgia. How that's even possible, I don't know. If you're a Republican in Georgia, hang your head in a bag. You people are like truly, if you are a Republican in power, I'm talking about like the governorship, the attorney general, the secretary of state, you people are truly, you are sick monsters to allow this to happen to somebody in your state studying nursing school. Go look into Laken Riley's background. Like, it's a beautiful soul. So the guy who's going to apologize to the murderer, or the guy who's going to say this criminal murdering killer should have never been in this country and deserves the death penalty. Deportation, but now the death penalty because he murdered an American in cold blood. Like, that's your choice. That's your choice. Are you a parent? Are you a moral person? Are you a Christian? Do you believe in God? Well, then the choice is like pretty obvious. If you are a Satan worshiper and a predator and a monster that wants to make everyone's life worse, then maybe you'll vote for the other guy. The choice is yours. Obviously, Hollywood has made their choice. Hollywood was really excited to vote for the other guy and spends their every waking moment donating to the man that allows the murderers to roam free and kill American children, and then apologizes to the murderers. Donald Trump, however, proving the power of this celebrity and the force of nature that it is, was able to troll the Oscars while the Oscars were live. Donald Trump put out a Truth Social post last night and talked about how much Jimmy Kimmel sucked at his job. Has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was less than an average person trying to do something that he is not and can never be. Get rid of Jimmy Kimmel and replace him with washed-up, cheap ABC talent George Stephanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look taller. Okay. Hilarious. But if Trump's going to put out something like that, like the last thing you would want to do if you're Jimmy Kimmel is like read this on air and troll yourself. Yet this is the power of Donald Trump. This is what it looks like to have end stage TDS, right? Patient zero, typhoid Mary TDS, Trump derangement syndrome is Jimmy Kimmel. And this is what it looks like to have that on stage. Jimmy Kimmel can't help himself and actually was able to read this on stage in what has got to be the greatest cell phone in the history of Hollywood. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The best moment from the Oscars last night, if there was a best moment.
But I was told we have like an extra minute, and I'm really proud of something. I was wondering if I could share it with you. I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Stephanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
So, the joke is that Jimmy Kimmel reads all of the barbs against him and then says, we as fascists, we here in the supercenter, epicenter of Marxist fascism have decided to put our political enemies in jail, and that's the joke I'm going to make. I'm going to make a joke about putting you in prison because that is what Marxists do to their political enemies, because we don't live in a free country, and Hollywood doesn't want us to live in a free country. And then all the lobotomized clapping seals clap. Yay, fascism, they say in Hollywood. It's true. It's like, literally, if there's an industry that does not deserve celebration, it's Hollywood. They had the worst year, quite literally the worst year in Hollywood history, the year of the flopbuster. If there is a secondary group of people that do not deserve any celebration, ladies and gentlemen, it is Congress. Congress is the largest group of organized criminals and thieves in America. It is also a very stupid body politique, including many of the Republicans who we criticize often here on this program, who decided with a majority of like 2 people, they were going to vote to kick out a Republican. Well, it's bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that pays off for you. And it won't pay off, and it hasn't paid off. We are getting the most ineffective and worst Republican majority in my lifetime. Republicans have every right to be furious at the people who run Congress and run their party in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very proud to welcome George Santos, former congressman from New York, to the program, maybe future congressman from New York. We'll see. George, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate your patience with us this morning. We had a late start due to a technical error and a power outage here in Tampa. And so now we're back, and we couldn't imagine a better show to bring you on for because the Oscars were last night. Donald Trump was able to live troll the Oscars. I wanted to get your reaction.
Well, I got to tell you, Benny, thank you for having me. I was watching this entire intro. It was great. I do want to say, President Trump's trolling of Jimmy Kimmel is just great, but I think Jimmy's having a bad year after I slapped him with this lawsuit for fraud. So I'm pretty sure he's having a tough time dealing with, you're getting sued for fraud and then you're also getting trolled by the former president of the United States for being subpar. So quite frankly, the Oscars, look, the only thing they got right last night was that Oppenheimer, in fact, was a great production. But I'd argue that Barbie was also equally a great production in its production value, because there's nothing that Margot Robbie does that is not worth watching. I think we can all agree to that. But with that said, I think the Oscars was just like another diehard blowover of the liberal elites cabal, just, kissing each other's ass, and I just can't stand that stuff. Like, so God bless President Trump for having the testicular fortitude to watch it, because I sure as hell didn't.
Could you talk me through the lawsuit?
Yeah, sure.
Jimmy Kimmel.
So Jimmy Kimmel in his did that he was going to go on to my Cameo account in December, order a number of dubious cameos under false pretenses with fake aliases, and then put them on his show. The problem with that is there's something called copyright infringement and licensing agreement, to which he signed up or paid for neither, and just decided to go monetize them, which breaks all the rules listed on Cameo's website and breaks all the copyrights and licensing rules on Cameo's website. So therefore, what he calls a prank, my attorneys and the entire legal community of America calls fraud. So he just gave him a simple, taste of his own medicine. And it's been just wonderful to watch him absolutely spiral out of control with it.
So you didn't watch the Oscars? Did you? Have you seen any clips? Can you rate Jimmy Kimmel's performance last night?
Well, I did see the Open because I saw Trump's Truth. So first thing this morning, I'm like, let me go watch the Open. And he's right. George Slopolopoulos, or whatever it is he calls him, would have done a much better job, for the simple fact that, again, I'm 6'2", I tower over little George, and most people would tower over little George and make you look a lot more glamorous. Isn't Hollywood all about height and stature? So yeah, he's right, but Jimmy Kimmel isn't funny. He hasn't been funny in decades. I don't understand why Disney and ABC continue to give him a platform with a show. First of all, that picture on the screen, Jimmy Kimmel does not look that good without all the editing and Photoshop. Let's start with that. Second of all, Jimmy Kimmel isn't funny. If he were funny, he would have not needed to fraudulently obtain poorly scripted cameos from me. He could have just gone into the pool of infinite 1,200 cameos I've done who are genuinely funny, and he would have had a great time with it. But instead, he tried to manufacture comedy, and he failed, and now he's getting sued.
So Jimmy Kimmel hasn't really been funny maybe ever, but some people point back to his early work and say, man, that's hilarious. But if you go into the archives of his early work, you find some of what would be called like unbelievably offensive, canceling worthy performances. Like, he uses blackface often and regularly. Like, here he's using not just blackface, but black body. Like, he's painting his entire arms and legs, fingers and toes, black, and then doing like sort of a low IQ performance of Karl Malone. He did this with Oprah as well, where he was with Oprah, he was fat shaming and also was like running on an illegal immigrant. I mean, you can find these clips, they're all available. And I'd like to get sort of your, because you are at sort of a cultural zeitgeist, and because you yourself are sort of a cultural nexus, to get an explanation as to why is Jimmy Kimmel forgiven for these sins. I think Megyn Kelly was canceled for like saying her kid went as Black Panther in like an outfit for Halloween. Yet Jimmy Kimmel is hosting the Oscars for the millionth time with these clips existing, and as far as I know, has never had to like apologize or had any professional consequences for doing this.
So you nailed you hit the nail on the head. Megyn Kelly, a former employee of ABC, was fired because she did blackface way back when Justin Trudeau was doing blackface, when you had this clown doing blackface, and none of them get canceled. Justin Trudeau becomes Prime Minister of Canada. Mr. Jimmy Kimmel here continues to have his low-rating show on ABC, and no consequence to any of them come. But Megyn Kelly, no, you're a conservative voice. How dare you? Shame on you. Jimmy Kimmel did it in the name of comedic gold, and it was fantastic, and we thought it was funny because deep down inside, we're a bunch of racist, rabid elitists who think it's funny. to self-own themselves in a comedic format. We have to get a white guy who's not funny to go ahead and do that. And then Justin Trudeau, he just can get away with anything because he's Fidel Castro's son. So that's just kind of the way that you nail this entire thing. And don't even tell me he's not his son, because if you take a picture of Fidel and you take a picture of Trudeau, I can see with my own two eyes the similarities there. And we all know his mother has a past. So let's leave it there.
I love the Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son theory, and you line the photos up. I mean, come on, it's a ringer. So yeah, I mean, we have like sort of wondered about this, like how these people would. Like, I was really interested in having you on the program because it seems like the same thing's happening to you in a different way, right? It's not like blackface, but it's other rules in Congress, in culture, and in the judicial system that seem to be applied to you, but not applied to anyone else. And I want to go to Senator Bob Menendez, because Bob Menendez is sitting there with literal gold bars rolling around in his shorts, bribes, and he hasn't even been stripped from his committees. Bob Menendez is on the Foreign Affairs Committee and is actively taking bribes from foreign nations for intelligence and classified documents from America. And he hasn't been kicked out of the Senate. He hasn't, to my knowledge, there has been zero professional consequences to this guy. The Department of Justice just filed new charges against him last week. Your thoughts on but yet you before a trial or anything else are kicked out of Congress by Republicans. Sort of want to get like your thoughts on that landscape.
Well, I'll put it this way. I want to start off with this, and I'll start on a funny note, and then we'll get a little more serious on it. But I think it's very important that the United States Congress, both the Senate and the House, have become more inclusive. We have, representatives from Egypt and Senator Menendez, representatives from Palestine and Rashida Tlaib, Ethiopia, and everywhere else, wherever the hell Ilhan Omar's from, that she pledges allegiance to over us. So when you really take it into effect, they're not serving the American people. They're serving themselves and whatever lords line up their pockets. But here's the reality. I made two consequential mistakes in my entire career. I didn't take gold bar bribes, and I didn't have fancy yachts and apartment given to me. But I didn't want that, right? Because, look, I try to be respectful because the DOJ is doing their job. And I think, we go about it with our day and let them do their thing. And so long as it's respectful. But there is a bias here. Where is the scrutiny on Menendez? Don't tell me there's no precedent, because Republicans and Democrats, 105 Republicans with no spine, went ahead and joined Democrats in vacating a seat that was duly elected by the American people. And they silenced the voters of the district I represented by recalling their election and their choice. Now, I had a 96% voting record, unlike most of the people who vacated me, who had under 80, in some cases 60% conservative voting records. And in some cases, some of them are so bad that they mirror Democratic voting records. Just think about that. This is Congress. We're supposed to be the party that's going to bring fiscal responsibility, and that's who we have within our ranks. That's a problem. But Menendez is not going to be expelled, and I almost can guarantee you, if he does run for re-election, he gets re-elected, because that's how bold these people are. That's exceedingly bold. Look, it's infuriating. $400,000 in cash, gold bars. The DOJ has been dumping, and the FBI has been dumping information on them, and Chuck Schumer doesn't even take calls. Where's the media hysteria? I had over 1,000 articles written about me in 2023. I haven't seen nowhere near close to that about Bob Menendez.
Yes. So Democrats went and then won. You were able to take over your seat. So great job, Republicans. You are running again for Congress. Can you fill us in on the updates there?
So here's the deal. Look, the guy who took my seat over, Tom Suozzi, formidable that spans decades. So in politics is a sum game. I'm not going to go run to lose, because it's not about running, it's about winning. So it's easier for me to go move to a district where the representative has abandoned the district and doesn't live in the district, has no desire to move into the district. Quite frankly, I don't think he can afford to move into the district he represents, and he has a much lower conservative voting record than I do, and he did spearhead the movement to expel me. So it's only fair that I bring the heat to Nick LaLota in NY1 formerly represented by Lee Zeldin, a Trump district in every shape and form. And I'm a Trump loyalist. So you know what? I thought it was about time that I make it interesting. I'm running in NY1. I'm primarying him. Primaries in June. I'm running petitions to get on the ballot now. And guess what? There is an energetic energy out there in the field because volunteers, my phone has not stopped blowing up since I made the announcement during the State of the Union. So, Nick Lalotta, watch yourself because you're one less rhino in Congress once I'm done with you.
One final thing, George, before we go, and best of luck on your race. You've talked a lot about insider trading in Congress, and that's something that we cover a lot on this program. We obviously go in pretty hard against Nancy Pelosi. Would you be for a ban on members of Congress trading and owning stocks? I think that would help, quite a lot, actually, the body politic of this nation. And did you, while you were in Congress, see any of that happening yourself?
So two questions there, right? So yes, I'm for it. I was actually working on authoring one, and then Abigail Spanberger from Virginia beat me to it, which is a Democrat, which I completely subscribe to her entire bill. I would go a step further in banning it for immediate family members and financial advisors to any member of Congress. I don't think trading should be in Congress. I've been on this beat for years now. It's been since my first race back in 2020, and I announced in 2019. I've been talking about it. It's part of my stump. I will continue to do it because I've seen it firsthand. I'll give you an example. I call her kindly Nicole Malio Stock Tips here out of New York and Staten Island. So Nicole here, for instance, serves in the Ways and Means Committee now. In the prior Congress, when she first got elected in the 117th, she did not serve in the Ways and Means Committee. Matter of fact, she didn't have really consequential, large committee assignments that couldn't give her any kind of advantage in stock trading. She joins the Ways and Means Committee in a very contentious race for that internally, gets the seat, right? So now she's trying out she's like dipping her toes in the water, kind of, so to speak. And she gets a little briefing the day before NYCB, New York Community Bank, announces it's going to buy Signature Bank in New York early last year. She has this big briefing, right, in the Ways and Means Committee. And simultaneously goes and makes a trade. I think it's $40,000 or something like that, whatever. It's not consequential, but it's so blatant and explicit that it almost tells you she's just testing the waters. Is this information reliable? Will this impact? And yes, it does. And let me tell you why I think it's much bigger than it is. This Congress has accomplished absolutely nothing other than expel me. That's the 118th is the only accomplishment that the Republicans have.
We agree.
Right? But here's what they do, Benny, on a regular basis. All these messaging bills, don't be fooled. They are not just messaging bills. There are messaging bills for the stock market because every time one of these very contentious messaging bills pass, the market reacts. And when it does react, who's benefiting? It's the lobbyists that are paying the members and the members who are using the information for their own benefit. And that is how America is being sold down a rabbit hole of corruption out in Washington, D.C. I've seen it firsthand. I will continue to expose it and talk about it in platforms like yours until everyone their eyes are bleeding and their ears are ringing of watching me and hearing me say the same exact thing. They are cheating their way into destroying America at their own benefit. There's nobody serving Americans in Washington, D.C. currently. I don't care how America first they are, because if they're not talking about this, they're also being complacent, in my opinion.
One final thing, we spent the weekend with Donald Trump at the UFC. It was really awesome to sit there and watch the fight with him. I know you are, again, a man who really follows culture and had some of the best one-liners and comebacks in Congress. And we played your viral clips on the show all the time. We were big fans, okay? And so as somebody who is close to Donald Trump and endorsed Donald Trump, your thoughts on 2024? Donald Trump says he's going to campaign in New York. Would you advise him to do that?
Absolutely. Look, New York loves Trump. Trump's a New Yorker. The South Bronx is yearning for leadership like Donald Trump. Just think about it this way. AOC's congressional district today has 2 Republican Trump-supporting New York City Council women in the district. One in Queens, and one in the Bronx. So if you're telling me that there's nothing going on in New York, then you're asleep at the button. Trump is right. Trump should come to New York City. Trump should hold a rally in Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, I don't know, Madison Square Garden. He'll pack whichever venue it is. We love Trump, and he knows we do. New Yorkers are done with this insanity. I follow this one influencer on social media, goes by the name of Jason Scoop. Doing a little plug here for him. I hope that's okay. He does this thing in elevators here in New York, which is uncomfortable questions in elevators, and he's all over Manhattan. I was on Reels on Instagram watching it, and he's in this elevator on the Upper West Side, which is the bastion and bedrock of socialism in New York City, the birth of the DSA. He goes into this elevator and just bluntly says, "Welcome to America's favorite show," or whatever, uncomfortable questions in an elevator, and he asks this group of people, who's better for the country, Trump or Biden? Unanimously, this entire elevator says Trump. This is the Upper West Side.
I mean, we spent the first 30 minutes of the show covering the fact that NFL quarterbacks, celebrities, billionaires, tech moguls that should never be seen with Trump, right? It's verboten. You're not allowed to take a photo with Trump, are running up and groveling for photos with him, kissing the ring, complimenting him, clapping him on the back, praising him. We watched it all. Don't tell me it's not happening. We filmed all this. Like, we took all this footage of it. Like, and so there's this paradigm shift that is really, really exciting. George, thank you so much for being on the program. You're part of the paradigm shift. It's been very, very fascinating watching your career, and we just love the energy. So Godspeed, sir.
Benny, thank you so much, and thank you for bringing the truth to the American people and continuing to communicate the way you do. You do great work, and I always look forward to joining you whenever you want me to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, and so you know what that means. The wall behind us isn't just for show. We got the Donald Trump mugshot up there, but we also got our gun wall brought to you by Spike's Tactical, the official AR-15 of the Johnson household. Don't come a-knockin'. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't leave a walk-in. Spike's Tactical, Monday Gun Day. Let's go, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, concealed carrier is able to defend himself against a robber in Chicago. Obviously, Chicago is a deeply dangerous place and a scary place, and you take your life into your own hands if you go into these cities. In fact, I just saw that the police in Pittsburgh, hey, Alex, can you grab me this article? I want to make sure I get this right. The police in Pittsburgh have decided to just not police anymore. The city's just too damn dangerous. So there's just laundry list of things they're not going to respond to anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, get out of the city. Get out of the cities. If you have to stay in the cities, then make sure that you are practicing your American rights to stay free and, well, stay alive. A concealed carry permit holder killed an alleged robber Friday before shootout in Chicago. CBS News reported that 60-year-old concealed carry permit holder was at an ATM on the 1500 block of West 82nd Street when a robber approached on a bicycle, displayed a firearm, and demanded the 60-year-old hand over as much money as they could squeeze out of the ATM. The 60-year-old responded by drawing his firearm and, well, winning the day, ladies and gentlemen. The 60-year-old was shot, but is in stable condition. Obviously, a horrifying situation. Nobody ever wants to find themselves in a situation like this. But we live in real world, not fantasy land. And if you live inside of a Democrat-controlled blue third world hellscape, you best protect yourself. You have to protect yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Really quick, in Pittsburgh, ladies and gentlemen, Pittsburgh police stopped responding to emergency calls. According to the press release, Pittsburgh Bureau of Police makes operational changes. The city said that they will create a telephone reporting unit, to dispatch calls, require in-person response by officers. Officers will not be assigned to crimes of domestic disputes, calls with evidence, or mobile crime unit will be requested to process scene. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a confusing press release. There is a series of crimes. Hey, Alex, give me that series of crimes that police will no longer respond to in Pittsburgh. It's like a laundry list. Let's jump in the article here and see if we can't get through it. They don't have the resources. Here we go. So, according to an investigation by the Pittsburgh-based station WPXI, this means that calls related to crimes such as criminal mischief, theft, harassment, burglary will all be handled by a recording on a telephone. We've been saying get out of the cities for years. We got out of the city. We got out of a Democrat-run hellhole, Washington, D.C. And now look what's happening. Now we were right. We were right. We were right. We were right. Now the police in the second largest city in Pennsylvania saying criminal mischief, theft, harassment, burglary will no longer receive a police officer. So people can just break into your house. Get the hell out of Pittsburgh. People can just break into your house. No cops are going to show up. People can harass you, steal from you, criminal mischief. They can just take your car and you can't do nothing about it. Huh. Wow. That actually sounds just like Marxism. That sounds like exactly what these people want. Unbelievable. And if those things happen to you in Pittsburgh, you have to call a telephone line and beg for help. And you get an answering machine. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, practice your fundamental American rights. Protect yourself. Protect your family. And we do so in the Johnson household with our Spikes Tactical AR-15, which we have a special where we learned how to shoot with an Army Ranger who works for Spikes Tactical using some of their awesome firearms, and we look forward to getting you that content. We have quite a few rounds of interesting projects that we have in the can, and we look forward to again releasing them and showing you how bad of a shot I am. I don't pretend to be a great shot, but I'm learning, right? Just like everything in life, we are learning. Ladies and gentlemen, we always ensure on our program that we give you uplifting news. We have spent the program talking about how we are going to win. We have spent the program talking about the change, the spiritual energy change in the country. We will lose no matter what. We will lose if we do not stay centered on the actual truth. We do not fight flesh and blood. We fight spiritual battles. If that hasn't been made clear by Joe Biden begging forgiveness of the criminal alien murderer of Laken Riley, I don't know what else. I don't know what other wake-up call you need. This is a spiritual battle between good and evil. And so we have to stay spiritually centered. It's why our verse of the day, every single day on this program, from Psalms 25, lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. For you, I wait all the day long. Ladies and gentlemen, we're learning on this program. Obviously, we get things, we get things wrong. We have mistakes on this show. You have to be humble. You have to put your head down, absorb, what's going on around you. And no, we don't have it all figured out, and we're not supposed to. God has it figured out for us. It's our job to, as the verse says, be led by God, be taught, and make sure that God is just simply you are focused on God as your salvation. So be patient, ladies and gentlemen, and march alongside us at this show, The Benny Show. We are here for you. We are in this movement together. We are on this journey together. I believe in my heart of hearts that we will win. I know that we will win. And so let's march onward to victory. Happy warriors. An army of happy warriors cannot be defeated. And I'm fighting right alongside you. It's your boy Benny. See ya.